Where is Skövde as well? Is that near like Rinkeby? Is that near like Stockholm? I can't lie, I don't know that many places in Sweden. I know Rinkeby and Stockholm, okay? Don't shoot me. But yeah, goddamn.
The 17-year-old girl had gone missing after getting done with her shift at Cafe 40. Sweden was once known for its non-existent crime rate.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought, because I know that Sweden's prisons are very ahead of their time. Like, these guys have a kitchen in their prison, bro. They've got chicken, they've got fruits, you can top it up. I might react to that as well. Let me know if you guys want me to react to Sweden prisons.
But with Lisa's disappearance, things were about to change. What happened to Lisa was beyond horrific. Just 5 days after Lisa vanished, her body would be found, and the media quickly dubbed her case the Milking Room Murder. She was very helpful towards other people, and she loved the thought of being independent. This is why when Lisa was just a teenager, she started working various part-time jobs to earn some money.
It's always the good that die young, man. One thing I want to tell you guys, man. Always the good that die young. Look, like, it's helping people. She was working multiple jobs to pursue her dreams.
A few weeks before the events of today's case, Lisa had gotten a job at a cafe in Blomberg. The cafe was about 40 minutes away from her home, and one of her parents took Lisa to and from work each day. Since this was the first time Lisa was working so far away from home, her parents wanted to be the ones to drop her off and pick her up for their own peace of mind. The very first day that Lisa gained her independence would be her last.
No, that's actually such. Imagine you first gain your independence and then you're just gone off the face of the earth, man. That's terrible. I would have wished that on my worst enemy.
Lisa's parents had gotten her a moped for traveling to and from work.
Ooh, dingy, zoom, going off on a moped.
Even though her parents were a bit apprehensive about letting her go to work on her own, they knew how important it was for Lisa to experience this on her own. So on June 7th of 2015, Lisa grabbed her stuff, hopped into her moped, and headed to the cafe without any problem. The cafe was busy. People were going in and out, and time flew by. Before Lisa knew it, the clock struck 6 p.m. and it was time to wrap everything up, and Lisa sent a text to her dad a little before 6:30 saying she'd be home soon.
Well, is Skövde a dangerous place? Because the parents were very concerned, like, make sure you're home, make sure you get, like, I know what it's like to have parents to, like, make sure you get home, make sure, like, answer your phone, this, that. Obviously, I understand that, but they were, like, onto us to get home. Did they just have a gut feeling or something? Like, they knew something was up.
Dad received a call from Lisa, and when he picked it up, there was something weird on the other end of the line. Lisa's dad kept calling her name, but he heard other people in the background and some disruption like car doors opening and slamming shut before the call got disconnected. This incident put Lisa's parents on edge, but they chalked it up to just being a pocket dial. Maybe Lisa was on her way and her phone accidentally pressed some buttons and called her parents. So they waited for Lisa to come home. But 40 minutes went by, then an hour, and then 2 hours. And
Imagine being a parent and hours are going by. You're thinking, where is my child? Where is my child?
the ride from Blomberg to Skövde should have taken around 40 minutes, maybe 50 if Lisa was running late, but it had now been close to 3 hours and Lisa hadn't made it back home. So what was going on? So after waiting longer than necessary, Lisa's dad got into his car and made the drive to Blomberg. When Lisa's dad reached the cafe, he looked around for her, and the first thing he saw was Lisa's moped. He was instantly relieved. He immediately thought that Lisa had stayed back with some friends for a little hangout or something. But as he got closer to the moped, he noticed something alarming. Lisa's helmet was still hanging on the side, and her keys were in the ignition.
What makes it weird is that it's not a robbery, because if you wanted to steal the moped, why is the moped still there? If you wanted to steal the moped, why is the moped still there? Why? It's obviously not a robbery, so why did they do this?
When the police arrived, they immediately came to the conclusion that Lisa was probably abducted, which was a rarity in Sweden. But they had to go through all the possibilities in this young girl's disappearance. The cafe where Lisa worked was located in a small village, and it was secluded, but it wasn't a hotspot for crime per se. It was peaceful and quiet. A man came forward with something. He worked at a barn right across from the cafe, and he noticed a discarded motorcycle glove on the ground of one of the barn rooms. The discarded glove indeed belonged to the now missing Lisa.
Oh!
But why was her glove all the way at this barn? What was Lisa doing there? Well, the police believed that she didn't go there voluntarily, and it was possible she may have been taken there against her will, further cementing that abduction theory. Soon enough, the police as well as the volunteers did start to find some alarming clues. Lisa's parents recognized the phone, or parts of it, and the cover as Lisa's.
Oh.
Things were not looking good. Lisa had gone missing, and now her phone was broken to pieces, and her belongings were scattered on the side of the road near the cafe. Over the next few days, Lisa's ID, her moped license, and her house keys were all found dumped on the side of the road,
They dumped her house keys on the side of the road. They did not care about it.
covered in overgrown grass. The same day, a volunteer, who was actually Lisa's dad's friend, had a strange feeling about the barn across the street. As he approached closer to the barn, he noticed something was amiss. The police tape had been ripped off. And when they searched around the barn, they noticed soiled walls, which was a really bizarre sight.
Whoa.
A sample of the waste was collected because the investigators had a strong
Oh, I know you're lying.
inkling that this would lead to some answers.
I know you're lying.
And it turned out, it did.
Oh. Why did I put this on? This is terrible.
When the detectives looked around, their eyes went to a cluster of clothing lockers against one of the walls. Most of them were empty and closed, while one was filled to the brim and wide open. The police checked all of the lockers one by one, but as they reached the stuffed locker, they removed the clothing and miscellaneous items inside, and what they saw literally made them jump out of their skin.
What did they see?
And they were police officers. They've
What did they see?
seen much worse, but this was horrific. Stuffed inside the narrow and tiny locker space was the body of 17-year-old.
Oh, I'm done, man. Oh, I'm sorry. This is just depressing.
Lisa Holm. She was partially clothed, and someone had used a rope to end her
Partially.
life. The search for Lisa ended in the worst possible way because she'd been attacked so brutally by an assailant, and now she was gone.
This is just sad, man. Like, imagine you go to prove your independence to your parents, to prove that you're grown, and then you. Fuck. This is sad, man.
They actually didn't even speak Swedish. They communicated in English, which was the same language in which the men communicated with the volunteers. Interestingly enough, the two brothers worked in the same barn that was right across the road from the cafe where Lisa worked.
Yeah, what are these the people that did it? Because if so, they're disgusting. You're disgusting.
When they talked to Nereus and his wife, they were quick to come to their defense. Nereus said that he was at home the same time Lisa went missing, and his wife, his only real alibi, was in the kitchen prepping dinner. Meanwhile, his younger brother was at home on his computer. The police obviously didn't buy this story because they thought that they were simply covering for each other and there was no way to tell whether their stories were even true or not. Regardless, the police took DNA samples from all three people, but since they didn't have any rock-solid evidence against them, they were free to go. Well, it wasn't for long because the DNA results from the work shed came in, and they were a match to someone. See, there were many stains on the walls where Lisa's body was found, and to everyone's disgust, it was male DNA.
What? What? So you.
But that's not even the worst part. See, the shed had a small space with a window that overlooked the cafe where Lisa worked, and most of the male DNA was found on that wall near that window. I don't think I need to go into detail about what this suggests, but the DNA found in the work shed matched that of Nereus. So from the looks of it, Nereus was a pervert and kind of a peeping Tom. He basically spied on female employees, including Lisa, from the window of the shed across from the cafe. And remember those traces of human waste found in the barn? Well, that was also Nereus' doing. It was theorized by the police as well as crime scene experts that the perpetrator probably underwent a rush of adrenaline during or after committing the crime and had no control over his bodily function.
He pooed himself in the barn. He pooed himself in the barn. He pooed himself in the barn after he did what he did. What an animal, bro. What an animal.
And he soiled himself. The nail in the coffin was found in another adjoining room in the barn. It was used as a milking room for cows, and inside they found the same rope that was used to murder Lisa, as well as Lisa and Nereus' DNA all over the room and on the pipe to which the rope had previously been tied. Nereus had been caught, but he and his wife were still holding on tightly to their story.
And you have a wife. You know how embarrassing it must be for the wife to know that you've done these things, but the type of man doesn't care about that.
Stressed that someone was trying to frame Nereus, and he was not involved in whatever happened to Lisa whatsoever.
How can there be frauds?
That was until the police talked to Nereus' younger brother, and he became Nereus' eventual downfall. See, the younger brother was unable to keep up lying to the police, and he came forward and said that in reality, Nereus was not home when Lisa went missing. And according to his wife, and initially even his younger brother, Nereus was at home between 6 and 8 p.m. on the evening of June 7th of 2015. To make matters worse, when the police checked Nereus' electronics, they found something very disturbing.
Oh, what did they find?
Even though there was no definitive evidence of Nereus forcing himself on Lisa during the attack, it's speculated that he got a kick out of seeing people suffer and be in pain. What was so astounding was that Nereus' wife stood by him the entire time of his trial. She never once believed her husband to be the perpetrator.
She's in denial. She's in denial. That's why. She's in denial, bro.
And the couple even went as far as blaming the younger brother, saying he was the one who murdered Lisa and somehow planted Nereus' DNA all over the place. Well, no one was convinced because the only person who didn't have an alibi was Nereus himself. The prosecution presented their arguments and stated that Nereus had been eyeing the cafe for a long time by the barn window, spying on unsuspecting young women. On June 7th, it's believed that Nereus lured Lisa into his car as she was leaving work, under the pretense of asking for directions. Lisa somehow got into Nereus' car, and that was when she was overpowered. Nereus then drove to the barn, where he ultimately ended Lisa's life in the milking room and soiled himself from the twisted excitement of it all.
What's a weirdo?
It's believed that he then loaded Lisa's body into his car and then drove
He's just a weirdo.
to the work shed, getting rid of Lisa's belongings on the dirt road in the process. Lisa's funeral was held on July 7th of 2015, approximately a month after her murder, and she was laid to rest in Cedars Church outside of Skövde. The Holm family endured a tremendous loss, and they hoped and prayed that their daughter's murderer never gets any mercy. But one more thing would happen, and it would lead to a very unsatisfactory end to this case.
What happened?
On April 3rd of 2022, things took a vicious turn when Nereus was found with a fatal wound to his neck while on a walk in prison. He didn't survive, and he passed away on the way to the hospital. It is devastating that Lisa's family had a taste of justice, but just 7 years into that sentence, they'd be left with no more satisfaction at the fact that their daughter's killer was suffering behind bars.
That case is bittersweet. On one hand, you can argue that he died, good riddance, he deserves to be killed. But that being said, the family feels like, well, he got off easy because he only lived 7 years. So that begs the question, what do you guys think? Do you guys think he got what he deserved? Do you guys think every life is important, no matter what life? Let me know down in the comments below.